Python is a general-purpose, object-oriented, and open-source computer programming language. This stable and mature language is a very high-level, dynamic, object-oriented, and cross-platform, all very attractive characteristics. Python runs on all major hardware platforms and operating systems, so it doesn't constrain your choices. Useful in many roles from design and prototyping to testing, deployment, and maintenance, Python is consistently ranked amongst today's most popular programming languages. Python has been around for quite a while. Guido van Rossum, Python's creator, first released Python back in 1991. Every programming language evolves as new ideas and technologies emerge, and the developers of Python have continually made the language more versatile and powerful. Python 2.0 was released on 16th October 2000 with many major new features. Python 3.0 was released on 3rd December 2008, which was a major revision of the language that is not completely backward compatible with Python version 2. Many of its major features were in fact backported to Python 2.6 and 2.7 versions. The current stable version as of today is 3.7.4. Some old Python projects still use Python 2, but you should use Python 3. Python 2 is set to reach end of life in 2020. If Python 2 is installed on your system, it's probably there to support some older programs that your system needs. What makes a language unique are its features. And Python is certainly blessed with several features which makes it a very attractive language to learn. Compared to other popular languages like Java and C++, it is easier to learn and code in Python. Python is a simple language. Anyone can understand and learn the Python syntax in just a few hours. Python is high-level language, which means Python uses a higher level of abstraction conceptually further from the underlying machine. Being a high-level language, Python code is quite like English. Looking at it, you can tell what the code is supposed to do. Python is open source, which means that its source code is available to the public. You can download it, change it, use it, and distribute it. Python is a portable language. Suppose you've written a Python code for your Windows machine, and now if you want to run it on Linux, Unix, or Mac, you don't need to make any changes to the Python code. In other words, you can write your Python code on any system and run it on any machine. There is no need to write different code for different machines. However, you must avoid any system-dependent features in this case. Python is an interpreted language, which means it runs directly from the source code one line at a time. If you're familiar with languages like C++ or Java, you must first compile it into an executable file and then run it. But in Python, there is no need to compile it. Interpreted languages run more slowly because the translation takes place on the fly. But development and debugging is faster because you don't have to wait for the compiler. Python is an object-oriented programming language, but lets you develop code using both object-oriented and procedural styles and a touch of functional programming, mixing and matching as your application requires. Python's object-oriented features are conceptually similar to those of C++, but simpler to use. Python is extensible in several ways. A core group of programmers works on modifying and improving the language, while hundreds of other programmers write modules for specific purposes. These extensions can add types of concepts, modules, and plugins. Python is embeddable, which means it is possible to put your Python code into a different language like C or C++ application. Embedding provides your application with the ability to implement some of the functionality of your application in Python rather than C or C++. Python is often considered as a batteries-included language due to its comprehensive standard library, so you do not have to write your own code for every single thing. The standard library contains commands, modules, and packages that are included with Python when it's installed. Python is a dynamically typed language, which means that the type of value, such as int, double, long, and so on, this is automatically decided at runtime by the Python parser, not beforehand. This is why you don't have to specify the data type while declaring it. This is one of the reasons why Python is so easy to use. Python provides interfaces to connect to all major databases, including commercial and open source databases.